Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Yarnoculus. For a long time, I have been itching to go back to the crochet basics and try designing some very simple granny square patterns. And this actually led me to the fact that I cannot stop designing just one granny square project, so I've decided to make a series on granny square patterns. Today we are going to look at a very simple and absolute beginner level granny square pattern, and as we go ahead with the series, I will include some intermediate patterns, but I'm gonna make sure that I keep the tutorials as simple as possible. I promise. So real quick, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please hit that subscribe button and join me on this beautiful granny square journey. Alright, let's quickly talk about the materials first. All of these patterns are actually designed to suit any kind of yarn, and the choice of yarn would largely depend upon your project. For this sample here, I used Debbie Bliss Eco Baby range, which is 100% organic cotton yarn. You can go for any kind of cotton, acrylic or any of their blends. For the weight, anything between super fine, fine, light or medium would be my first choice. Bulky, not so much. It's not a big no-no, just not preferred. Okay. If you have any questions regarding the right kind of yarn for your project, hit me up here in the comments below and I would be happy to help you out. Oh, and I used Paintbox Cotton Aran in color paper white for the borders, and the hook that best suited my yarn was a 3.5mm hook, so that's what you will see me use in this tutorial. Of course, you would need a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle to stitch your squares together, and that's all you need as far as the materials go. Okay then, that was a very long introduction. I can't wait to show you this pattern, so let's dive straight into the pattern. Let's go. Alright guys, for this pattern, the first thing that we need to do is a magic circle, and a magic circle is exactly similar to your slip knot. So you're gonna start the same way like you do for a slip knot. That's wrap around your yarn around your two fingers once, wrap around again, and this time it's gonna be over the first one, and slip in your hook beneath the first loop, pull up the second loop just like this. Nice and easy, and just slip out the yarn from your fingers and you have a magic circle. Okay, if this was a slip knot, you would just pull this tail end of your yarn and you would get a slip knot on your hook, but since we don't want that, we need a magic circle. We are just gonna leave this circle open. The concept behind this is we're gonna crochet inside this circle, and once we are done crocheting in the circle, you just pull this end of your yarn and you snatch the circle close. Okay, that's as simple as that. Let me show you that again. So what you do is you wrap the yarn around two of your fingers once and then twice, and then slip your hook beneath the first loop and pick up the second loop. Just like that, slip your fingers out of the yarn and just hold the end that's connected to your yarn ball just like you do when you're crocheting, and there's your magic circle. Okay. To start row 1, we're gonna do a chain stitch first. So a chain stitch would be yarn over and just pull through the loop on your hook. That's a chain stitch. And now inside this magic circle, we need to do 6 single crochets. Okay, so you're gonna insert your hook inside the magic circle just like this, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops on your hook. Okay, that's your 1 single crochet inside the magic circle. You can just make the circle a little smaller if that's easier for you to handle. Okay, we need to do 6 single crochets inside this magic circle. That was the first one, and insert, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's single crochet number 2. Number 3. 4, 5, and the last one, that's 6. Okay, so 6 single crochets inside the magic circle. We're done with row number 1. Almost done. We still have to connect it to the first single crochet, but before that, just pull the tail end of your yarn and close your magic circle. and then you just gonna join to the first single crochet that you did with a slip stitch. Alright, that was your row number 1, which was 6 single crochets inside the magic circle. For row number 2, we're gonna start with 2 single crochets in the same stitch as your joining stitch. So right where you are, put 2 single crochets. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both the loops, and one more, insert, pull up, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops. Okay, and at this point, if you wish, you can put a stitch marker on your first stitch just to mark the first stitch of this row. Okay, and this is going to be your repetition for row number 2. That's 2 single crochets in every stitch. So that was 2 single crochets in the first stitch. Do 2 single crochets in every stitch of this row. At the end of the row, you should have 12 single crochets. The last thing you would do is join to the first single crochet with a slip stitch. So just insert, pull up, and pull through. Okay, and just check that you have got 12 single crochets on this row. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12, and that's your joining slip stitch. That does not count as a stitch. Okay, now for row number 3, I'm gonna change my color and I'm gonna take in the pink color, and for that I'm just gonna pull up a loop like this, do a slip knot on my pink yarn first. With my pink colored slip knot on my hook, I'm gonna go through this loop just like this, pull the blue one and do a chain stitch connecting both of them together. So just pull up the pink yarn just like that through the blue one and through the slip knot on the pink one. Okay, just pull both of them together. You have joined the pink yarn to your work now. Okay, for row number 3, your pattern's gonna be 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet in the next stitch. So let's start doing that. Let the blue yarn be as it is attached to your work. We're gonna use it back again after the next 2 rows. Okay, so the first thing we need to do on this row is 2 single crochets in the joining stitch. So in the same stitch that you are currently, do 2 single crochets. So that's gonna be insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and do 1 more single crochet in the same stitch. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, that's 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and we need to do 1 single crochet in the next, 2 in the next, and 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And that's gonna be your repeat, and that's what you're gonna do for row number 3 all around the circle. 2 single crochets and 1 single crochet. At the end of this row, join to the first single crochet using a slip stitch. So this is your first single crochet, and just join to it using a slip stitch. Okay, so that was your row number 3. For row number 4, again the same thing. We're gonna start with the same stitch as you are in right now and do 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So just insert, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Next, we're gonna do one single crochet each in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2, and that's gonna be your repeat for row number 4. 2 single crochets in the same stitch and 1 single crochet each in the next 2 stitches. Okay, do this for all the stitches in this row. At the end of row number 4, you should have 24 single crochets. And it's easy to get confused by this chain stitch out here, which is not actually a stitch. So just ignore that and join to the first single crochet with a slip stitch. For row number 5 and 6, we're gonna use the blue color again. So just drop the pink yarn, just drop it like that. You don't need to snip it off, and just take the blue color and pull it through your chain stitch. Okay, just like that. And now with the blue color, we're gonna do row number 5. So for row number 5, your repeat's gonna be 2 single crochet in the first stitch and 1 single crochet each in the next 3 stitches. Okay, so let's start with 2 single crochets here, right where you joined. And 1 single crochet each in the next 3 stitches. And repeat that all across this row. Okay, 2 single crochet in the same stitch followed by 1 single crochet each in the next 3 stitches. Alright, in the end, join to the first single crochet using a slip stitch. And on this row, you should be getting a total of 30 stitches. Okay. For row number 6, your pattern will be 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet each in the next 4 stitches. So let's start with 2 single crochets right where you are, just where you joined. And 1 single crochet each in the next 4 stitches. Repeat this for rest of the stitches on this row. 2 single crochets and 4 single crochets in the next 4. Alright, at the end of this row, join to the first single crochet using a slip stitch. And we also gonna change back to the pink color. So just drop the blue color and pick up the pink color. Do a slip stitch with your pink color so you have it on your hook. And for row number 7, your repeat's gonna be 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet each in the next 5 stitches. So start with 2 single crochets right where you joined, that's this stitch. And do 1 single crochet each in the next 5 stitches. And repeat this for all of these stitches on this row. In the end, you should be getting 36 stitches. Okay. Alright, end your row number 7 by joining to the first single crochet of this row. Just a slip stitch to finish off row number 7. For row number 8, that's gonna be the last row of our motif. We're gonna do a repeat of 2 single crochets in one stitch and 1 single crochet each in the next 6 stitches. Okay, so start with 2 single crochets in the joining stitch. And 1 single crochet each in the next 6 stitches. And that's gonna be your repeat for this row. You're gonna do 2 single crochets in one stitch and 1 single crochet each in the next 6 stitches. So go ahead, I'll meet you at the end, and on this row, that's row number 8, you should be getting a total of 48 stitches. Alright, at the end of row number 8, as usual, join to the first single crochet using a slip stitch. And that completes your main motif, that's the circle. And now we're gonna turn this into an actual granny square. Let's make the square border. Okay, so now you can cut both the pink yarn and the blue yarn, and we'll weave in the tail later. For now, I'm just gonna cut it off and let it be as is because I need to join the white yarn out here. I'm using the white yarn for my border, so we'll just start with a slip knot. And just like you joined the pink yarn on row number 3, I'm gonna join the white yarn here. Just put it through and do a slip stitch across the pink and the white. Okay. Pull both of these yarns so that's tight and nice. Now with the white yarn, we're gonna do the border stitches. So for the border stitch, the first thing we need to do is a double crochet, chain 2 double crochet. That's gonna be your corner stitch. So right where you joined, do a double crochet first. So that's gonna be yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, chain 2 and do another double crochet in the same stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That gives you the first corner of your granny square. The next stitch is gonna be a double crochet. So yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. The next is gonna be a half double crochet. That's yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. That's a half double crochet. Do one more half double crochet in the next stitch. And then we need to do 1 single crochet each in the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, the next stitch is gonna be a half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. One more half double crochet, 1 double crochet. So that's yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's one side of your square. So the next thing is gonna be a corner, and a corner is gonna be double crochet, chain 2 double crochet. So do that in the next stitch. And you're gonna repeat the sequence 3 more times. That's gonna give you the other 3 corners of your granny square, and you're gonna get an exact square. So the repetition for this row is gonna be double crochet, chain 2 double crochet, a double crochet in the next, 1 half double crochet each in the next 2 stitches, 1 single crochet each in the next 5 stitches, 1 half double crochet each in the next 2 stitches, double crochet in the next, and a corner stitch, that's double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, repeat this 3 more times and I'll show you what to do next. And the last thing on the border row is gonna be a double crochet. So do a double crochet in the last stitch and join to the first double crochet using a slip stitch. And now you can just cut off the white yarn. Just secure it with a knot. And you are done with your granny square. Alright guys, so now that your granny square is actually ready, you can use them for a lot of projects. Like you can make like the back of a sweater with this, a cute little blanket, or you can just use it for a pillow cover or a lot of projects, okay? But obviously for all of them, you need to stitch them together. So let me show you quickly how you can do a clean seam for joining all of your granny squares together. So I'm gonna stitch it together with a tapestry needle. That's just a large eyed needle, and I have the white colored yarn onto it. So that's the same color as I used for the borders, and I'm gonna stitch in together the granny squares with this color. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is just invert your granny squares. And please excuse my tail ends, I'm gonna stitch it up together once I'm done with the entire project. Just ignore them for now. So just put your 2 granny squares on top of each other like this, and you got to line up the stitches so they are exactly on top of each other. So the way I do it is you just line up one corner to the other corner, and to make sure that you have got the right stitch, start with the double crochet. So this is the double crochet of one of the corners, and this is the stitch that it corresponds to, this one. Okay, so this was your chain 1 and chain 2, and this was your double crochet. So this corresponds to this double crochet on the other square. Okay, now that you've got your starting point, you just have to identify the inner and the outer stitch. Okay, for the double crochet of the granny square facing me, this is my outer stitch. Okay, this one, and for the granny square behind it, this is my outer stitch, this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna stitch this with this, just like this. Just put your needle through it and pull up, pull one end, and take in enough thread as you feel you would need for this side, and that gives you the starting point. Now here you can also stitch the inner loop of this stitch to the inner loop of the other stitch, so that's also okay, but I feel that stitching the outer loops together just makes the seam more invisible and look cleaner on the right side. Okay, so now all you got to do is keep doing this, outer to outer, and keep stitching them together. Just keep doing that till you reach the end of this side. And since you have the exact number of stitches on both of these granny squares, it's gonna align perfectly with each other. Okay, that was my double crochet on this side, so that's the last stitch on this side. I'm gonna stop here and show you how it looks on the front. You see how clean it looks, and the join is just perfect. You're gonna continue joining these as well, and I'm gonna show you what that looks once I have joined all of the 4 granny squares. Okay, just give me a minute here. Alright guys, there it is. It's all stitched up, all of my 4 granny squares stitched up, and that's how you're gonna continue stitching up your granny squares as you go and as much as you need for your project. Okay, so this was a practice swatch of my granny square pattern number 1, and hope it's encouraged you enough to go ahead and put some granny square projects on your hook. And I'm so excited to see your versions of this pattern with different colors and flavors. So do tag me on Instagram if you happen to use any of my patterns. And the handle is at Yarnoculus, and I'm so looking forward to your versions of these granny squares. Alright, I'm gonna get working on my pattern number 2, which is coming up soon. Till then, take care and happy crocheting.